So speciation. It's the evolution of new biological species. So it's pretty much the development of new species from a pre-existing species. So types of speciation. Do any of you know the speciation that's due to geological isolation? Well, that one is allopatric speciation. And that is deals with geological conditions such as tectonic plates, dry up rivers, river formations, mountain formations, any kind of geological issues that divided population has, like earthquakes. And then the next type of speciation with no geological isolation is sympatric speciation, which basically you have a population, within that population a new species will arise. So these are other types of speciation. So we talked about allopatric speciation, which is in the same, in the different location. There's peripatic, which is a nearby place. Okay, I can say these words. Parapatic, which is beside places, and sympathetic, which you said was in the same place. Now, genetic variation is the key to survival. That's just a note to know. Then other is geological isolation, which is pretty much an example is Pangea or river formations. And then another example of reproductive isolation, which is more of a sympathetic species where you have two organisms on the same location and somehow they can develop into a new species, saying like one loves like pear-loving flies and banana-loving flies. Now, evolution of ecosystems, which is ecological succession, which is gradual process of change and replacement of the types of species in a community. So a change in an ecosystem over time. You usually start with shrubs or weeds, and later you can end up with a forest. So
you actually have to know this process. Like you start off with shrubs, or you start off with bare land. It can be just soil, and then you're going to see. Well, I'm sure she's going to describe it.
Yeah, it's the next one. Okay. So primary succession. So succession that occurs on a surface where no ecosystem exists beforehand. So you'll start with lifeless habitat, which means no soil, and then so the primary succession. So then you end up getting a primary species to come, or primary or pioneer species, which will be like lichens or mosses.
Lichens and mosses.
Mosses, yeah. And they will break down the rocks, and with weathering combined, it will create soil, will form soil. And then from soil, you'll have herbs and shrubs. Then from the herbs, you'll have a healthy mat. And then with that, that will come the first kind of tree development, which is a pine tree. And then from there, you would get more trees and a forest will start.
So you may see questions like, what type of succession occurred if land with soil was later converted to a forest? What's the answer?
With soil or without soil?
I said with soil. Secondary, good. So no soil, you're going to see words like pioneer species, lichens, mosses, and you're also going to see weathering. They could talk about weathering because with the aid of weathering is how the soil formation begins.
Now the next one, she said, when it has soil began, which is secondary succession. So you start with soil, so it's not a lifeless habitat, and then from there you don't really need pioneer species. And then in the soil you have organisms, decomposers, insects, nutrition, water, all the components necessary for life. So then it starts the process again where you have herbs and shrubs, and then it creates a health mat, and that comes the pine tree, and then you develop a forest. That's it.